Hi, my name is Marie Hiebert from the Southeast Asia program here at CSIS. Our guest today is Education Minister Heng Swee Keat. It's a delight to have you here.
Thank you.
Could I just ask you, in general terms, how do you see the state of U.S.-Singapore education cooperation? And particularly, could you also tell us a little bit about the MOU you signed with Secretary Duncan yesterday?
Well, we have always had a very close educational collaboration between the U.S. and Singapore. Many of our students study here, and many of the students in the U.S. also go to Singapore for exchange programs. We have the American School in Singapore. And this particular MOU builds on an earlier collaboration in the teaching and learning of mathematics and science. And it extends it into two areas. One is on educational research and benchmarking, and the other one on the leadership development and teacher development.
Tell us a little bit about the U.S. educational initiatives in Singapore. Many U.S. colleges and universities actually have campuses now in Singapore.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit
yes,
about
indeed.
that.
I think the U.S. has many peaks of excellence, especially in higher education, and I'm very pleased that so many of the universities have collaborations with Singapore universities. In fact, more than 60 MOUs have been signed, and specifically there are a number which has set up campuses and joint programs in Singapore. So, for example, MIT is setting up, together with Singapore, a University of Technology and Design, and also with Zhejiang University from China as one of the partners. And what they do is to bring together science, technology, and design into one campus, and an opportunity to design a university course from ground up. Now, the other major collaboration would be between the Duke University and the National University of Singapore to set up a graduate medical school that trains both medical practitioners as well as researchers. Then, of course, we have this collaboration between Columbia University, the Teachers College, and our National Institute of Education, offering a master's in leadership, educational leadership, and change. Now, these are just some examples, and in fact, there are many others which have been progressing very well.
Now, Singapore also has some presence in the United States with its math and science curriculum.
Right.
Do you know about how many U.S. Schools use the Singapore math and science curriculum, and why is it that they do this?
Well, I understand that a number of schools in the U.S. are using the curriculum and the teaching methods in mathematics and science. I think we've always had a strong emphasis in the teaching of mathematics and science, and we've sort of developed a systematic approach to helping students of all ability levels to have a grasp of mathematics and science. And I'm happy that it is being used in some of the schools. But we learn a lot from the US. In fact, for instance, we set up a specialized school of science and maths and science in Singapore after learning from the US. And the US has a very diverse system. So there are many things, many interesting innovations that are happening all the time, and we learn a great deal.
Now, there were last year, in the last school year, about 4,300 Singaporeans studying in the United States. That's up about 6% or so from the previous year. Do you expect this trend of Singaporeans continue to study here and the numbers continuing to grow to continue?
Well, I think many students from all over the world, and especially from Asia, come and study in the US. Singapore students come here to do their PhDs, masters, and the first degree. And at the same time, we see also many students from other parts of the world studying in Asia and in Singapore. And I think this is a good trend. In a more globalized world, it is important for our students to learn about other culture, to learn different perspectives, and to make friends. And in the long run, they will be able to collaborate better and to build a better world.
You, when you started talking a few minutes ago, you talked about increasing cooperation between the U.S. and Singapore and teacher development and school leadership, as well as education research and benchmarking studies.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit of how you see that cooperation developing over the years to come?
Yes. Well, the MOU that we have signed provides a good sort of umbrella for the different institutions and for our educators to come together to explore areas of collaboration, building on each other's strengths. And I see many possibilities. So just to give a few examples, I think in the area of educational benchmarking and research, it allows us to do joint work, particularly in areas of how we maintain rigors and standards in the design of curriculum, in the assessment methods, and also looking into the future into developing teaching and learning methods for new competencies which are important in the 21st century. Skills like critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and global awareness. Now, in the area of teacher training and educational leadership, we can build on the complementary strengths of the two systems. I mean, the US has a very diverse educational system, so you see interesting variations and innovations all over, and we are very keen to learn from that and to see what might be relevant to Singapore. In our case, in the area of, say, teacher development and training, for instance, we run a more integrated system from recruitment to training to deployment. There are strengths and weaknesses in both approaches, and by looking at, by sharing ideas, by looking at the practical results of this, we can look to learning the best aspects of each of these different systems, and for us to then take this forward. I think it's very important for us to put education at the center of all that we do, because it is critical to the future of our children. It is critical to how we provide opportunities for them.
So that you raised a very interesting point. Singapore is well known for preparing students for future, for jobs, for entering the job market. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about your priorities in doing this?
Well, a few areas. One is that we need to enable our children to access a new future. The future is going to be different from the past and from today, and part of that effort is to ensure that what we do in education is aligned with the needs in our economy and in our society. So whether it is in aligning it with the sort of jobs that will be created in the future and with the demands of those jobs. The second area is to develop each and every one to their fullest potential, and that means taking a student-centric approach in education, looking at harnessing the strengths of each individual and developing these strengths in ways that enable them to fulfill those potential. And the third area is that because the world is unpredictable, we don't know what the future will bring, it is important for each individual to have enduring values and skills. And enduring values and skills, particularly in the development of character, in the development of competencies that will enable everyone to be adaptable for the future, to be resilient, will be an important part of our focus.
Mr. Minister, thank you very much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.